Hey everyone, so last time I made a video I promised that I would tell you the running total of how much I have raised, and also come up with a final idea of what animals I'm going to save. So running total is £200 so far. Whilst not the whole of that isn't on the GoFundMe page, that's more that I've sort of contributed, and that's sort of in my account and ready to go at any point. And also Tone my partner, had the idea that people who have helped me raise money can sort of give their preference as to what type of animals that I save first. So yeah, go for it. Tell me what animals that you'd like me to save, and I'll do my absolute best to do that. And yeah, so that's all for you. So before I go on, I just wanted to say that I've done sort of more research into the different types of animals that need to be saved, and how they're saved, and like how much money is involved in that. So with dogs, for example, if they're to be saved from the pound, usually the pound will actually get in contact with a local sanctuary and specify how many dogs they have, and say, look, we're going to have to do something about these dogs, or they're going to have to be rehomed, because otherwise we're going to have to put them down, because that's what pounds do. And hopefully then sanctuaries can come and collect the dogs, and that process in theory is supposed to be free, because you know there's no sort of, well, it's good anyway that there's no money involved in saving those particular animals, especially when they're sort of bound for death otherwise. But what I learned is that you can't just ring the pound and just be like, right, so I want a dog, can I rehome one? You literally have to be a reputable sort of rescue centre or sanctuary to be able to rehouse those dogs or cats that need to be rehomed. So, and I found that out from Jerry Green Dog Rescue. They are based in Nottingham, I believe. Unfortunately, Jerry Green himself has passed away, and this is something else that I learned actually. So essentially, when the founder of a charity passes away, of a sanctuary specifically, or any normal charity in fact, the trustees of said charity then decide what happens to it, and what happens sort of going forward. So the trustees would have decided sort of perhaps who will oversee the whole of the goings on and everything like that. So, and it's certainly not something that I had considered before, because you don't sort of think, oh well, I'll start a sanctuary, but what happens if I die? You know, that's not the first thought that came into my head anyway. So that's what happens, and it's great, because essentially by having the charity and the trustees, you can, or I can, create the legacy that I would love to, I suppose, in that it will live on past me, which would be amazing. So what else have I learned? So with chickens, they're usually picked up by the thousands, and the Patrina at Nana's in Irflinborough informed me of a place called Little Hen Rescue, and they, for instance, will buy chickens by the thousands, and then they will stipulate to potential rescuers whether the chickens that they want to buy are still producing eggs or not, just because, you know, there are people that want their chickens to lay eggs, and then, you know, yeah, so that's another sort of, in my eyes, sort of political and way of looking, well, sort of just, no, not political, like sort of more money orientated, and sort of animals having a use purely for humans rather than just them being beings. So yeah, so that happens as well, but a lot of the time in animal sanctuaries it seems that the cockerels, so cockerels are very hard to rehome because of the noise that they make, and with hens, as I said before, once they don't sort of lay eggs anymore, they're not as attractive to buyers, I suppose, or like people are less likely to want to rehome them, which is obviously sad. But I found out also today about, so Nana's, for example, they decided to start renting land, and they are still renting the land that they are based on, and that prospect I've learned quite a lot about, to be honest, and I've learned that from my sort of experience and known examples, it seems that it's the sanctuaries that actually have the land. So ideally, you know, to be able to start a sanctuary, you need money to start with, and if you don't, then people sort of end up renting land, but that obviously means that there's no end to the payout for that specific land, whereas like if you own it, or at least have a mortgage on it, that there will hopefully be an end to the amount that you pay on the land, so you're more likely to guarantee that like a vast majority of the money you raise for or the money that is raised for the animals then go to the animals rather than the land for the animals, because I suppose rent is always going to be going up and up and up with inflation, so yeah, it's just I'd rather not rent land if I can help it, but yeah, that's still something that I've looked into. Another thing that so the Michael, who is based at Nana's as well, he made it very clear to me that, you know, there are very tough times when it comes to having an animal sanctuary, whether it be with members of the public or having to say no. So when you know, if I got a call, for example, having an animal sanctuary, and someone said, you know, can you house these 3 pigs, and I haven't got space for those pigs, it's obviously going to be disheartening, and he's sort of told me to like expect tears and stuff, and whilst I knew that was an aspect, I think it was the way in which Michael addressed that with me today, that made me like properly think, yeah, that's definitely something that I've got to sort of come to terms with as like sooner rather than later, because that's another thing that Juliet from Viva told me, actually, the same sort of thing. You know, if you take on too many animals, then like all of them, like that will affect all of those animals, because you're not giving them the best care. You know, it's better to have sort of I don't know, for example, like 3 pigs in great condition than 7 pigs in poor condition.